And this is especially true when it comes to attracting super high value guys who have options, right? Because these guys, if you put yourself in their shoes, in their position, they're going on lots and lots of dates. They're meeting lots of women regularly, and they are meeting a lot of women with that pick me energy. And it's actually quite rare that they go on a date with a woman who's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, dude, I'm the chooser. I'm not the chaser, I'm the chooser. You have to step up for me. And weirdly, that actually does capture his attention because it's so different from what he's actually seeing out there in the dating marketplace. Gary, in today's podcast, we are going to be talking about 7 classy ways to capture a guy's attention. Because I know that so many women listening to this, they're a little traditional, right? They want the guys to do the work. He should be the pursuer, right? Not me. And that's what they like. But at the end of the day, we still want to be able to capture a guy's attention, those high value guys, right?
Yeah, and I think, obviously who doesn't want just all of the men to just kind of fall in your lap, come to you, sit back, do nothing, and just capture their attention automatically. But what you want and what's likely to happen and what's best aren't always the same thing.
Right. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to just attract the guys who are super comfortable approaching anyone. We call them ropers. These are guys who kind of come out of nowhere. They've gotten really good at approaching women because they do it a lot, right? They're super confident, which, as you talk a lot about, they might potentially be even narcissistic. We definitely don't want that. So that's something we are definitely going to be avoiding as we talk about capturing guys' attention. It's about capturing the right guy's attention.
And importantly, we have to be clear. We're not saying that, ladies, you have to do all of the work and approach men, because you don't want to have that pick me kind of energy that we talk about, that neediness, that chasing, desperate. You don't want to have that kind of approach to men either. And so this is all about finding that middle ground. You want to capture the guy's attention who might be just a little reluctant to approach on their own. Like Adam said, we don't want those ropers, but so we need to find a way to attract the right guys in the right way.
But the first thing that we don't want to do, okay, before we even get started, Gary, we don't want to put ourselves out there in a highly sexualized way. What is the easiest way to quickly get a guy's attention? Put yourself out there in a sexual way, right? That will get a guy's attention, but it's not going to get the right guy's attention. You're going to attract a lot of men by doing that, but it's just not the guys who are really looking for that long-term real relationship. I mean, those guys will also be drawn in by sexual attention, but we want to be able to attract, with everything we're talking about, the high class, the high character, those types of guys. And at the end of the day, when it comes to dating, you give what you want to get. So we want to be very intentional about putting the right type of energy out there, getting the right type of attention, so that we, in return, receive the attention from the right types of guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a matter of quality over quantity. Like you said, if you put yourself out there in a highly sexualized way, you'll attract all types of guys. And so a lot of times people think that that's the way to go, that you just want to throw a lot of quantity at the problem, and it gets tiresome. Like the guys that you attract that way are guys that aren't worth your time. And so you want fewer people, but better people. And that's going to get you where you want to go.
Amen. So why don't we jump into them, Gary?
Yeah. So we have 7 classy ways to capture a guy's attention. The first one, and this is how we start with a lot of things. And I think it's so important because this is fundamentally what we do and what we're about is empowerment. And so number 1 is embrace your empowerment. You are high character. You are high value. As we say, you are the prize.
You are the prize. Don't forget it. You're the prize.
It's just like, the advice you get when you go to an interview. You're interviewing them. And this is the mindset too with dating. He has to impress you, not vice versa. So often you go in, you get yourself a little bit worried, a little bit nervous. Like, what is he going to think? Is he going to like me? Is he going to think I'm attractive? Is he going to find me interesting? No. Don't worry about any of that stuff, right? Yeah. Worry if you find him interesting. Worry if you find him captivating, interesting. Does he have high character? Flip it around and make sure you're doing a good job evaluating him and not basing how you feel off of how he feels. How do you yourself authentically feel about him?
Amen. And this is especially true when it comes to attracting super high value guys who have options, right? Because these guys, if you put it yourself in their shoes, in their position, they're going on lots and lots of dates. They're meeting lots of women regularly, and they are meeting a lot of women with that pick me energy. And it's actually quite rare that they go on a date with a woman who's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, dude, I'm the chooser. I'm not the chaser. I'm the chooser. You have to step up for me. And weirdly, that actually does capture his attention because it's so different from what he's actually seeing out there in the dating marketplace. So it's kind of like it's flipping the script in many ways for these high value guys who do have those options. I think it's a really interesting.
To that point, just last night on one of our masterminds, one of our clients who lives out west, she was on a date and she says, Gary, this guy is the highest value guy I have ever met. Went on a first date with him. She's like, he was awesome. She goes, you know what he said at the end of that date? First, he says, I want to see you again. And he said, you know what? I just have to tell you, I have never met anybody on a first date who acts the way you act, who asks the kind of questions that you ask. Boom. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly it. Like, that is empowerment. That is, you are the gatekeeper. You're not hoping for someone's attention. You're quietly confident that you're going to get it. And anytime some guy isn't smart enough to realize what you offer, too bad, so sad, next. And you just move on.
Moving on to the next. I love those stories. They never cease to not make my day. I know that's a double negative. They always make my day. How about
there you go. There you go. Nice, solid revision. Yeah.
Never cease to not make my day. The next one, which is something we talk so much about with our clients, is to be easy to approach, but hard to attain. Here's the thing. When it comes to dating advice out there, there's so much dating advice that says play hard to get, just get out there, see, play the game and all this stuff. Not with our clients. We don't play games as a starting point. We are like, hey, we're going to go out. We are going to be interested. We're going to be flirtatious. We're going to have that welcome mat that says, hey, come talk to me. I'm interested. Let's have a conversation. Great eye contact, smiling, or as we always say, smocking, smiling while talking, right? Right, Gary? Is it working?
It's great. Working right now? I'm falling in love with you already. Falling in love.
Oh, you got my heart. But it's about being fun. It's about being interesting and really easy to talk to. But at the same time, we still want to be hard to obtain. So everything we do with the little love steps is like, get out there, meet lots of guys. Don't play hard to get when it comes to meeting guys. Talk to everyone in the room. But then when he takes you out, you start going on a date with him, multiple dates. That's where we pace it. We slow it down and we actually become hard to attain. We obtain. We don't just, obviously when it comes to sleeping together, we don't just jump into bed. We don't just immediately start texting him morning, noon, and night. We create space during this stage. And this builds an incredible amount of desire when it comes to dating. And the best part is it's not playing a game because it's a healthy way to date. It's a healthy way to date. Why would you be texting with a guy you just met morning, noon, and night? It's like, just slow it down. So love this one.
Yeah. The way I like to think about it is, when he starts getting very impressive to you and things start going really, really well, don't just melt. Like there's this like tendency, I guess, to just kind of melt and be like, oh yes, this is great. I'm just going to really totally go for it. You just, like you said, you're not playing hard to get. The key is to be selective. You're hard to get for everybody else but him. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that you have high standards, but somehow he's able to achieve those standards. Right. You want to say things like, I don't usually talk to guys like this in this way that I'm talking to you, but you're different. There's something special about you that makes it so I feel more comfortable to do this thing that I'm not typically likely to do.
Right. No, I love it. Do you want to take us on to the next one, Gary?
Yeah. And so this being, selective is very much related to this next one. Number 3 is don't be too easily impressed. And here's the thing. The guys, we want you going out with super impressive guys. They will actually be super impressive. But much to my last point, like you don't want to melt and just be so over the top about how impressive they are. Yes, he's going to be successful. Yes, he might have money. He's probably handsome. He's probably just charming and charismatic and all these great things. But you don't necessarily have to fawn all over him. You want to be polite, but you just, it's like a little bit of indifference. And it's not a negative indifference. It's almost this is to be expected type of approach to it. It's like, of course you're like this because guess who else is like this? Me. And so because I'm on your same level, like I find you impressive, but not like over the top impressive. Now,
Yeah.
the second part of this is don't be impressed by the typical things that everyone else is going to be impressed by. So he has a nice watch, a nice car, nice clothes, all that. Don't pick up on any of that stuff because that's the stuff everyone else picks up on. Find
Right.
something different, find something deeper, find something core in his character that you're picking up on that other people are less likely to notice. And you start pointing those things out, all of a sudden, what? Oh, you are going to capture his attention in a way that no one else does.
Like, if you want to date a celebrity, let's say you go on a date with a celebrity, what's the best approach to take when you go on that date? Be unimpressed by them.
Right.
Like in like obviously like you want to see their character, you want to actually get to know the human being behind them. Like obviously their accomplishments, you can talk about that a little bit, but like if you fawn all over them, like then suddenly you're just like every other person on that date. And
Right.
I was thinking about this. I don't know have you seen the Tom Brady roast?
I have not yet. No.
It's on Netflix. It's really good, but they talk a lot about how he's like single and dating. And I'm like, what would a woman feel like being on a date with Tom Brady? And it's like, you could just, or what does it feel like to be Tom Brady going out there and dating? Because he has the option of any woman in the world. He's probably looking for a woman who's actually not that impressed by him, which is very hard to find.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure every woman he goes out with is just like, oh my God, you are Tom Brady, you're the greatest football player of all time. And, you are extremely attractive and funny and rich and cool.
That is a spectacular point because
Yeah.
Tom Brady or not, any successful guy doesn't want someone to just like fangirl over him, right? Like
Right.
just don't go that over the top. And actually, the right kind of guy doesn't, even though he's successful, he makes a lot of money or whatever it is, he actually doesn't want you to like him for that reason. He
Yeah.
wants you to like him in spite of that reason. It's like guys who are super successful, a couple that I know are always really impressed with people who are with like their high school girlfriend. It's like you hear a celebrity who's with their high school sweetheart or the person that was with them before they were famous. There's a gravitas and a sincerity and a seriousness to those types of bonds. And it really speaks to this idea of like, yeah, I'm successful and I know you're going to like that, but I want you to like me for me. And everybody wants you to like them for who they actually are, not for what they've attained.
It is funny, just like philosophically, like guys, I feel like are driven to be successful in order to get like our core, in order to get attention from the opposite sex in many ways. Like that is a driving force for a lot of men to be successful. But then it's like, once you get there, in many ways, you want to be seen for who you really are, not for that success.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing that happens, I think, for a lot of really successful guys when they're going out there and dating. They want to be actually seen for who they are and not just their fame or their money. So,
Yeah.
really interesting one. Let's move on to the next one. And I love this one because I think not enough people focus on this for women in particular, which is the importance of being fun and just having funny energy. Like just kind of being a goofball sometimes. Like everyone likes spending time with positive, youthful, optimistic people. Like no complaints, get the negativity, the drama, the complications. And I understand, like we all have complaints about our life. We all have negativity. We all got our own shit going on. We have our own drama. But it's so refreshing as a guy to go on a date, like to go out on a date with someone. And I'm sure the same for women as well, where it's like, finally, no stories about complicated ex-partners or your relationship history or talking bad about your best friend who kind of texted you something annoying the other day or telling secrets like, I have this little secret I'm not supposed to tell anyone, but I'm going to tell you. And the guy's just thinking like, is she going to then tell everyone about my secrets? Right. So I just think that kind of energy, especially on the first couple of dates, is so important. Obviously, as you continue going on dates, it's like, yeah, you're going to become more vulnerable. You're going to talk more about the negative stuff going on in your life. You're going to share more deeper things going on. And that's great. But definitely like the first couple dates where we're forming our first initial impression about a person, whew, that is important to really have the right type of positive, fun, funny energy.
Yeah, and I think, the other piece of being positive, fun, and funny is also appreciating your partner's sense of humor. right? I mean, there's research that shows one of the best things you can do as a flirtation strategy and to get someone else to like you is to find the other person funny. And that's especially true for women because one of men's go-to strategies to try to impress people is to be humorous. And
Yeah.
so it's almost guaranteed that during your date meetup at any time, he is trying to make you laugh and he is gauging his success on that date on your reaction to his funny jokes, his not so funny jokes, his dad jokes, all of the kinds of jokes. He's trying and he wants to see, like, does she get me? Does she get my sense of humor? Is she going to find my sense of humor annoying? Like, is this a good crowd or is this not a receptive crowd? And so finding him funny is part of that overall positive vibe.
It's funny, when I first met Jessica, she was laughing at all my really stupid jokes, and I thought, oh, she really likes me a lot. But then I discovered, now knowing her for 10 years and being married to her, that she laughs at everyone's jokes. She's just really good at doing that. She's very, very charming. I'm like, oh, she's probably just like feeling bad for me and cracking some smiles while I was trying to do my little dance for her when we first met that first day. But it really is empowering. Like I do. I know I talk a lot about Jessica because she really is very, very charming. Like when you're around her, I see her with other guys, and she's very intentional about like laughing, constantly smiling, even if the joke is really stupid. I'm not good at that. Like if I don't find something funny or interesting, I like my eyes just start darting around the room. I'm just like, oh, what am I doing here? Like I can't stand this person. I don't know, Gary. I think you're much better at this, honestly, too. You're much more charming.
I don't know. Maybe it's just by comparison, but I do think in these situations, what I try to do is even if I don't find whatever the person's doing authentically funny or amusing, part of me does find it funny or amusing that they think this is charming.
Right.
Right. And so you just kind of flip it around. Like I'm just fascinated by human psychology and how people think. And I will find myself with like the same kind of positive response just based on the fact like, wow, this person really thinks that this works. Wow.
Right.
Like they think that this was a good line to use. Wow, they think that that's a smart point. And you can kind of pull off the same exact thing and you just kind of, it's all how you handle it. And it's, just yet another strategy to use.
Amen. Amen. All right. Let's keep moving on with classy ways to really captivate his attention. I would say a very important one is showing genuine interest in his life, like being legitimately curious about the human being. And like, it's not about the details and the facts. It's not about where he grew up. It's about his experience growing up. Like we want to know more about the way he thinks rather than the facts about his life. Where he went to college, what he did with his first job, where he, what you can name anything. When it comes to facts, facts are a conversation killer. It's so boring, and I get it. Like, I understand, especially when you first meet someone. Let's say you're out at night, and you want to ask them like, "So, what do you do?" Right? I understand it's an easy question to ask, but we're not getting to the core of the human being, the core of the guy.
Yeah. And, so often we're doing this because we want to collect a bunch of facts and then you'll go home that night, review the facts, and then jump to a bunch of conclusions. Right? Oh, he has a degree in computer science. Now you assume you know three other things about him. Oh, he's an only child. Now you assume you know five more things about him, and so on and so on and so on. The
He's a
problem is,
Pisces. He's a
right?
Pisces. Ooh, oh no. He's a Pisces. He's a Gemini. Oh no. I got his
And
birth date. Now I know everything about him. It's like, oh God.
which just fits with our need to know things. But if you really want to authentically know things and not just take random guesses, ask better
Yeah.
questions. Like you said, what do you do for work? Standard question. Much better question. Why do you do that for your job?
Mm,
How
right.
do you see your work making a difference or an impact on others' lives?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are questions that he doesn't get asked. It's going to tell you a whole lot more about him. It's not stuff he's prepared for. Every guy kind of prepares for those basic questions. But instead of asking, what kind of car do you drive, ask something else that's much more interesting about what's the thing that no one knows about you that you'd be proud to admit?
Right.
Good
Ooh.
question. That's a good question. And then be a good listener. And the thing is, the best way to be a good listener is ask better questions that you actually want to hear the answer to.
Right. Yeah. I love that. So true. I totally agree. But if a woman, just a side note, if a woman does ask me about like my Harley Davidson, like that's a good question. That's cool. If you ask me about my motorcycle, like I'll talk to you all day and I will like you. So
You're right. You will. But you're a different guy. I gotta give you credit though. Like you're a different guy. Like you would take that question and then talk about personality characteristics and experiences that go along with it. A lot of guys, you ask them about their Harley Davidson, they're like, you should see the pipes on this Harley Davidson.
oh
You should
yeah.
see the engine. It's got a 350. I know nothing about Harley Davidson, but it's like they're gonna
I
start
can
calling
tell.
all these facts. I got saddlebags on it. Like I don't know what else goes on those things.
Totally. I got cornered yesterday at the liquor store by this guy. He's like an old guy. He's looking at my bike. He's like, oh, you got Reinhardt pipes on that thing. He's like going through all the details. I'm like, dude, I'm already like, maybe we could talk about like where I ride, like things that I can actually answer because I'm kind of a fraud. I actually don't know that much about the technicalities of motorcycles.
You're like, buddy, just let me buy my box of Moscato in peace and let me be on my way.
Exactly. Celtics are in the playoffs. I'm sent to the liquor store. I got to get a couple drinks for tonight. So there we are. All right. Next one is maintaining your independence. This is a big one because your life's mission. Hey, okay. Gary and our mission is about dating. Your mission isn't about dating, finding a guy or being someone's partner, right? We want to find the right guy who wants to share his life, really, and your life, right? Not feel like he is your entire life. It's a really important part of this.
Yeah, the right guy wants to share his life with you. So your
Yeah.
life isn't, you don't want to be dating for the rest of your life. You want to be
No.
someone's partner, but you want to be somebody's equal. And so
Right.
you want to be part of somebody's life and you want them to be part of your life, but your guy should not be your entire life. And guys don't want you to feel like the same is true for them. Like they need to make you their entire life.
Right.
So to be interesting, to capture a guy's attention, you want to have a full, complete, amazing life of your own. Pursue your own interests, your own hobbies, your own social circles. Share with him what you're interested in, what you do, your passions. And, if at this moment I just said, share all these things that you're doing in your full, complete, amazing life, and you're like, uh-oh, I got nothing.
I got nothing.
That's what you got to work on. I mean, like that's the first thing, because having all of that stuff going on is not only going to help you meet guys. And this is what I mean by, dating is part of it. Getting a relationship, finding a partner is all part of it, but it all starts with empowerment, right? That's why the very first thing we had is about empowerment. You get a full, complete, amazing life that any guy wants to be a part of, and that's going to set you on your path.
And also, for those who are feeling like I don't have any interests, I don't have any hobbies, I have a pretty small social circle. By the end of today, you can have some hobbies and you can really focus on your social circle a little bit. Like for example, I play guitar. I'm not a very good guitarist. Like I got 4 chords. All right, I can play a couple songs. If I was dating and I didn't have any other hobbies, I would be talking about music, my passion for music. I love to play guitar. By the way, I'm not very good at it, but I'm working on it. That alone could be an attractive thing to talk about just because I care. Like I'm passionate about that very thing. You don't have to be good at it. You to be passionate about something. You can just talk about something you really like rather than someone's like, oh, what do you like to do on your free time? And you're like, I don't know. I don't really have anything going on. And the same thing with your social circle. Like you don't have to have 50 friends to have a social circle. All you need is a couple friends that you're passionate about, right? It's not about like going to every major gala in your city. Do people go to galas anymore? I don't know. Or whatever it is. Like you don't have to have this massive social circle in order to be able to talk about important people in your life. So long as you have one important person that you're passionate about, then suddenly you are like your identity is much deeper when you're actually meeting a guy for the first time. And be prepared to answer these questions because they're gonna come. They're gonna come. So like have something in your back pocket. When a guy asks you what you like to do for fun, tell me about your friends, tell me about your family, and have a positive spin on these things, even if not all of these things are positive at first. And if they're not positive, continue working on those things so that when you are in that relationship, it's not like you suddenly are just focused on him solving all your problems, right? And the same thing goes with guys. This is the same advice we would give men. So for those of you who are like, they're attacking me right now, we're not. We would give the same advice to men.
And really what it comes down to is, one of the best ways to show your independence is to not be free and available anytime he wants. Right? He calls you or texts you Friday afternoon at 3 to say, "Hey, you want to go grab drinks at 6?" Sorry, can't.
You're
Busy.
not a 7-Eleven. You're not a convenience store. All right. We need to plan. You are a fine dining restaurant that needs a reservation far ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you're busy. You got a full life. Like you can't just drop everything for him. And you're thinking, but wait, what if he doesn't call me back? Like what if that makes him lose interest? It's not. It's going to do the exact opposite because he's going to now think, wait a second, she's got stuff going on. Okay, I respect that. I have stuff going on. I like people guys who are A players, so to speak, want to be with other A players. And so you can't go around acting like a servant, like I'll be here and do everything you want. Like that's not how you get respect. You get respect by being an equal. Match him. Have a full, complete life that he wants to be a part of. Can't say it enough.
Amen. Gary, you want to close us off with the final one?
Yep. The very last one, I left it for the end to build a little intrigue, which is the last one is maintain the mystery. And so maintain the mystery means you're going to like spending time with this guy. And yes, the more you tell him, the closer you're going to feel, the more he's going to tell you and so on. But pace, slow down, have some patience. Don't talk about everything up front. Save some things for later, right? He asks you a question about your relationship history. Say, I would love to tell you about that, but that's more of a third or fourth date question. Maybe I'll tell you if you make it that far, right? Like you do this like a little playful banter, right? Because again, a high quality guy, he's confident. That's not going to throw him off. He's going to be like, okay, game on. And so he's going to it's going to get his competitive juices flowing a little bit. And it's going to be clear with how you say it that it's playful. Like, I'll tell you, I got a lot to tell you. I hope you make it, but let's see if you make it that far. Right?
Yeah.
Build the
and
mission.
that's especially a good one if he's trying to get a little sensual too quickly and he's moving a little too fast or he's talking about things, maybe I'll tell you about that if you make it to the X date or if you make it to the next date, right? Like creating that mystery. I mean, I think the big thing is like, this advice isn't for everyone because there's overshares and then there's undershares. So we're really speaking to the overshares who go on a first date and the date lasts 6 hours. And by the end of the date, he knows every single part of your entire life from second grade all the way to age 65. Like he just knows everything. And it's like, by the end of it, he's just like, whew, okay, that's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And so if you find yourself in that scenario, and the problem is those who are overshares are probably not going to be listening to me at this point, but like I tend to actually be an overshare. So I did notice that like when I was going on a first date many years ago, like before I knew all this stuff, I would just be constantly talking about myself, because it comes from a place of insecurity sometimes, where it's like you think the more information you give, the more it's going to build desire, but it's actually the opposite. The more tension that you build on that first date, the more it creates that pull for him to want to like separate, put that, what am I trying to say?
Close the distance.
Close the gap. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah.
Close the gap. So, have a little bit of fun with it. And, I think I've said that many times where it's like, you know what, if you make it to the next date, maybe I'll tell you more about that.
Yeah. So I think that's one really good way to maintain the mystery. There's one other way to do it. And that's with not how much you share, but what you share. And so this could be on your online dating profile, but this could also be in an early conversation, is try to share things about yourself that show a wide range of your personality. So don't necessarily share things that automatically go together. So if you're a physician or you're in a healthcare field, don't say, I'm a physician who also likes healthy eating and Pilates and yoga. It's like, okay, I mean, those are all the same thing. Instead, be the physician who likes to eat a burger. Like, be a physician who likes to eat some barbecue. Be a new age vegan who also enjoys classical rock music. Like things that are a little bit juxtaposed. They're a little bit different. It makes you more interesting and more intriguing. And so be mindful about how you're combining those things.
Call them contradictory characteristics. The lawyer who rides the Harley Davidson. That's interesting. That creates a lot of interesting intrigue. So, Gary, this was really fun. I really enjoyed this. For those ladies out there, get out there. Push yourself. Be easy to approach, hard to attain. Use these strategies. Have a little bit of fun. And I promise you, you're going to be captivating, capturing a lot of guys' interest as you go along. So that was super fun. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Adam.